Aging Matters on BCTV is supported by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging.
Hello and welcome to Aging Matters. This is a program that's provided by and sponsored by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging. My name is Ann Barlet and I'm the Public Advocacy and Outreach Manager for the agency. Our show this evening is on the Greater Berks Food Bank and some of the special programs and services. And I want to welcome and thank Doug Long with the Greater Berks Food Bank. He is the Manager of Marketing and Development for them.
Correct.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I'm looking forward because I think we hear information about the Greater Berks Food Bank, but we really don't know all what it encompasses. I know that it's doing great assistance to the folks in our county in particular, and really want to share those services. So. But first, before I do that, because you told me earlier you're celebrating the 35th anniversary.
That is correct, yes. Okay. This is our 35th year. We were founded in 1983, and I think ironically enough, we opened our doors Thanksgiving week. So I think it's very poetic to speaking to our work that year. But as you can imagine, we've grown quite a bit.
So tell me, let's go back 35 years ago.
Sure.
Who started it? Was it the same sort of focus, but just on a smaller scale? Or what happened? Let's start with the history and what's going on.
As you well imagine, a lot has changed in 35 years. Our community has changed a lot in 35 years and the needs that surrounded us. When we were founded in 1983, we were founded by a group of local religious leaders, people who, perhaps their church or their synagogue had a food pantry, or they were just hearing the stories from their congregations of just more and more people that were in need. And at the time in 1983, the concept of a food bank was still new. There's, of course, a difference between food pantries. Those are the places that we supply. And food pantries, or maybe even decades ago, they were called food cupboards, or once again, mostly run by churches. And they would keep some food in stock for when families fell in hard times to give them. But as needs rose, and once again, it was the group of local religious leaders that were hearing it from their congregations, they realized that what the community needed was this idea of a food bank, which would be a standalone organization, a standalone building that would have the capacity to go out to the food industry, acquire bigger donations, bring it into their building, properly store it, and then when these food pantries throughout the city and throughout the county needed food, they could then access it from the food bank. So once again, in 1983, they felt it was time to create an organization like ours. We started within the city of Reading, kind of on the south side on Neversink Street, which is a little side street, in a very small old building. It was only about 7,000 square feet. We couldn't even get, I wasn't with the food bank at the time, but I certainly have heard the stories. They couldn't even get trucks down the street to drop off the food.
I would imagine.
They had to have it dropped off down the street, and we had a little shuttle van that would bring it down. So times have changed. About 12 years after we were founded, in 1995, we moved into a new building that we had built through the help of a capital campaign in Muhlenberg Township. In that building at the time, we were distributing about 2 million pounds of food a year.
Wow.
In our first year of existence, it was about 500,000 pounds. By the mid-90s, it was getting close to 2 million. So we built a new building then that was supposed to handle 4 million pounds of food. And at the time, our leadership and our board of directors felt that would meet the needs of the community for a very long time, as it would more than double what we were already doing at that time. Unfortunately, the next 10 years were not so kind on the area, and a lot of big businesses moved out, and just more and more people found themselves in hard times and in need. And the demand on the services of the Greater Berks Food Bank rose quite a bit from 1995 to 2005. By that point, we were already at about that 4 million mark. By 2010, we were distributing more than 5 million pounds of food. So once again, the need to move existed again, or rose again, and in 2014 we moved to our current facility. We're now in the Sinking Spring area on Morgan Drive. In that building now, it's a 50,000 square foot building, so it's 2.5 times larger than old one in Muhlenberg. We now distribute more than 7 million pounds of food a year, and we've been at that mark now for the last several years. But
I have to just stop you.
Sure, I know.
My mouth is open. 7 million? I guess I can't even visualize that. I mean,
Sure.
That has to
I always
be-
think I should put that in terms of, how many
Yeah.
elephants that is,
Yeah,
or how many, because 7 million, it's like,
Yeah.
that sounds a lot, but really what is
Exactly.
it? Trust me, it is a lot of food that we distribute.
Wow.
Our last few years in our old building, the one that I said was designed to handle 4 million,
Yeah.
we were doing 6.5, 7 million of the building designed to handle 4 million. So you can only imagine the nightmares, the lack of storage that we had, the logistic problems. But we've changed the Greater Berks Food Bank. We've evolved a lot through the years, along with the food bank industry, where our focus more and more, very much so today, is on getting out as much fresh and healthy foods as possible. So we really were at the need too, where we had to drastically increase our storage capacities for fresh product, for produce, and for dairy, as well as for all the frozen meats that we get from some wonderful donors. To the point where we are today, more than half of the food that we distribute is fresh or frozen perishable foods.
You must have huge wall-to-wall refrigeration
We do.
freezers. Wow.
We
I'm just
do.
trying to, again, picture that.
We do. So it's more than half the food, so more than 3.5 million pounds of that food we're distributing a year. To kind of give an overview, because once again, some people don't really understand the concept of a food bank or how we in turn help.
Right.
What we're doing then with that 7 million pounds of food a year is we're distributing it from our distribution center in Singing Spring out to the 300 programs that we supply in Berks County as well as Schuylkill County. So it's your traditional food pantries that we've been talking a lot about, once again, mostly operated either by churches or community centers, your soup kitchens, your emergency shelters, and then more and more too, our focus is also on our direct service programs where we're taking the food with our staff, with our volunteers, and directly getting it out to the people who are in need, whether they're children through our Produce for Kids program, whether it's anybody in need, any family in need through our mobile market program, or whether it's seniors in need through our what we call our senior food tote program, or now our mobile direct program. So that's, once again, an increasing focus of ours is getting it out directly to the people, and what that allows us to do is all these wonderful fresh products that we get, they're perishable and they need to be moved, they need to be getting out. So we need better avenues to make sure that it's getting into the hands of those who are in need in our community while the food is still at its peak condition and is going to serve people well.
So truly, I mean, I'm going also from the overwhelming thought of 7 million pounds, but then also the logistics when you're saying that you're doing that combination. So people are at the warehouse trying to get all of that in a date, proper date orders to get to your 300 areas that you're helping, and then you're also having separate programs. So that really, logistically, it seems that it would take a lot of not only organization, but people and vehicles and all kinds of things that go into that operation that we may not see. So I think that's, again, I want to commend the Greater Berks Food Bank for doing that, because we certainly know in our agency, with the Area Agency on Aging, the senior group is, we are all aging, so we're living longer, and therefore, being helped with medical situations, and yet our resources, our financial resources are not there. We know, we hear from everybody about, this goes up, but we don't get more in, our Social Security income or whatever it is. And if we've invested well, we might have that, but we all don't have that. And there's such a range of that and many years of that I think, looking at least that group that we're familiar with, if as a senior, somebody that might need that, looking at that for that assistance obviously provides me with the food sustenance and the healthy food, as you said, with the fresh and the frozen, but also frees up some funds then for me to apply for other things that I need to pay.
Or pay your heating bill in February, and that is absolutely a concern with the seniors.
So, and real quick, so then the food pantries, before we move into, because I want to spend some time on those special programs that you were talking about, but with then the food distribution into the food pantries and other locations, there are regular distribution days in each of
Correct.
those? And could you just tell a little bit about that so we
Sure.
understand that
Yeah, absolutely.
then from the bank out?
Sure. Like for instance, the food pantries that we supply, and we supply, I believe it's between 80 and 90 between
Okay.
the two counties. They do all have set days and hours that they operate. So one of the resources that we offer the community is, should somebody or should a family find themselves in need, they can call us at the Greater Berks Food Bank. Our number is 610-926-5802. And they would be referred to an individual in our agency services staff that could help refer them out to the program that's in their local community. But even on top of referring them out to them, they can kind of walk them through the process a little bit better too, so they're just more comfortable and understand what it's going to entail for them to get the assistance. So then that person would then visit the program that's within their local community.
And because there's criteria for that
Absolutely.
and some guidelines
Right.
for participation,
Right.
but then there's a nice number that they can access it close to that rather than they're not going to the
Correct.
food bank. Okay,
Correct.
all righty,
Correct.
good. So let's move a little bit to the special programs that we wanted to highlight, pretty much that are focused more on the senior citizen, senior population. And I don't know if that means to you in your world. In ours, typically, our programs that are, that have some government funding, the age is 60 and older.
Same for us. Yes.
Okay, all righty. So that's the population we're talking about for these two. So you mentioned the senior tote program
Right.
and then a mobile direct program.
Sure.
Right. Where would you like to start?
Sure. Well, backtrack one more. So we have a lot of programs that deal with help anybody who's in need. So we have our mobile market program with 7 sites in the 2 counties where whether it's a senior or a young family, whomever can visit and get, once again, fresh and frozen items. All the food pantries, of course, seniors can also visit those in the local community.
So let me ask you, mobile market.
Sure.
Like I would think of as a produce market that I'm...
Correct. When we set up, we have 7 monthly partner sites where we take our truck filled with fresh, fruits, and we just had one last week where we had zucchini and peaches and milk, and they had frozen meats and a lot of wonderful things, and we really do set it up kind of like a little, farm market outside, and that's where the people then would visit that site during those couple hours that it's open and get some of those items. So that's been a wonderful program for us, and once again, one that seniors can go to as well. But then on top of that, we do have some programs specifically for in-need seniors as well as in-need children, because we realize while there's a lot of people in general in need, those are the 2 groups in specific that the lack of proper nutrition has the worst effects on their well-being, their maintaining of health, their growth in the case of children, warding off diseases, that kind of illnesses. So we have a real focus on those 2 groups. And with seniors, we have 2 programs specifically. One is our it's a federally supported program, and as we know, the federal government likes to give big names and acronyms to everything. So it's the CSFP program, the Commodity Supplemental Food Program. We make it a little bit nicer sounding. We call it our Senior Tote Program.
That's what I remember, because I had commodity food program. And then
the Senior Tote Program, but
without
getting into too many boring details, we get food provided to, the Greater Berks Food Bank is the administrator of this federal program for our 2 counties. We get food in through the Department of Agriculture. For the most part, this is non-perishable foods. That goes in it's all non-perishable foods that go into the boxes. But it is food that is in line with health needs of seniors. So it's really low sodium, low fat. There's grains in there. Obviously, being mindful of a lot of seniors are dealing with high blood pressure, diabetes, or other issues.
Exactly.
And the seniors that are in this program, and we have almost 1,700 that are enrolled. They are enrolled in the program, so that means that they, as long as they're actively in the program, they're guaranteed they're going to get their box on a monthly basis.
I'm going to stop you a second.
Sure.
So the enrollment, there is like a application.
There is an application, and that's once again all through. We administer that too. So if any senior would like to inquire about that program or get more information, once again they can give us a call at the Greater Berks Food Bank, and we could give them that information, and if they do qualify, we'd send them out the application. So they would fill that out, but then once they're enrolled in the program, typically the boxes are delivered out to seniors that are living in senior housing facilities.
Okay.
But we do have seniors who are still living in their homes that do qualify for it, and they're able to come to our location. We do it the first Friday of the month, or send a proxy, a neighbor, a daughter, or whomever to pick that box if they're not too mobile to get that box. But that box of food that they get, it's meant to be probably like a 3-4 day supply of food. But it's a supplemental program, helping to maybe get them through until they get the next Social Security check or whatever the case might be. But it's a very beneficial program. We've been doing it here locally now for, I guess, over 15 years. We've been partnering with the federal government on that program here in Berks and Schuylkill counties. And our caseload, we've been able to get that to, it's pretty much doubled through the year. So it's now 1,700 seniors that we're able to help through that program.
And I'm going to, again, did you say it was once a month?
Yes, they get that box once a month. And that's, we deliver those boxes. You talk about being a big operation. We deliver those boxes out to about 80 senior living facilities in the 2 counties every month. So we bring in a big team of volunteers that pack up all those boxes, those 1,700 boxes for the enrolled seniors, and then we take those 1,700 boxes and over the course of the next month deliver them out to the 80 sites where the enrolled seniors are living. So then they would just need to go to, there's somebody within their own building, the coordinator, exactly, to make sure that they get it.
Distribution.
But obviously it makes it very easy for them because it's coming to their place of residence.
And typically folks in those facilities may, because their seniors also have moved there, because not only may they have downsized, have limited income, but also have limited medical, have conditions that have limited mobility, things like that. That is great that kind of distribution can exist, because I'm still picturing the facility where some's going out on that monthly distribution while something's coming in to stock the shelves. So I'm still figuring all of that out. So that is, again, truly a government program, commodity food program that you're referencing, Senior Toad, and that they can contact you to see if, and talk about it, see if they might qualify. Then there would be an application, enrollment piece, and then moving forward from there. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure we got that one more time. And then there's another program.
Yes. We kind of piggyback this with our mobile market program, which we discussed a couple of moments ago. We started that in spring of 2016, so a little bit over 2 years ago now. We also then began our program, which we call Mobile Direct. And what that is we've partnered with a majority of, more than half of the 80 sites that we already deliver the senior food tow programs to. We started this other program within those same buildings where we deliver fresh products, produce primarily, some dairy items, but also frozen meats directly to those same housing facilities for the seniors that are in need. And the amount that we've been able to deliver through that program and the frequency of those distributions is really staggering to me every time I look at it. Last year, just through that program, once again, just going to these senior high-rises or other senior living facilities, we delivered more than 500,000 pounds of fresh and frozen perishable foods to those places.
Wow.
And on a monthly basis, on average, it serves about, to be exact, about 3,050 individuals on an average month are receiving food at some point through that program. And it was almost 1,000 deliveries that we made in 2017.
And is that, I'm going to ask to clarify, is that when that food is taken to the locations?
Right.
Are they available for everybody, kind of like the market would be, but actually mobile there rather than them going to the market?
Correct.
So it's kind of like
it's going to them.
Not one individual necessarily, but those that are living there have the ability to.
Correct. Yeah, that one is not. You do not. The people who are in that facility do not have to be enrolled in the other program to qualify for or to access food through this one. But obviously, it's helping us reach a bigger portion of in-need seniors that are within those facilities, and just once again getting really healthy, wonderful, fresh foods to them.
You get all of the foods from.
It's always the question everybody wants to ask: where do you get all that? Yes. Once again, I sometimes you have to reel me in. I throw out too many stats and figures and stuff like that, but they go through, after 12 years of being there, they go through my head too much, I guess. But we get about 80% of the food, the 7 million pounds we get a year, more than 80% of that is donated to us. And that's one of the things we always like to tell monetary
Yes.
donors to us too, is that when you're donating that $1, we're not taking that $1 and turning around to a wholesaler and purchasing 3
Okay.
cans of soup.
Right,
What
okay.
that's allowing us to do is put the driver behind the wheel of one of our 6 trucks, put fuel in that truck, keep the freezer at 0 degrees where it should be, all the things we need to do to
Okay.
acquire and properly store food and then get it out to those 300 programs. And at the end of the year, we figure out that for every $1 donated, we're able to bring in $20 worth of food. Because
Wow.
once again, there's not a food cost for most of it. We do on a smaller scale purchase some
Okay.
food, but most of it's donated.
Wow.
And we're getting that from the food industry in general.
Is it local or out?
Most of that is local, so it's your local grocery stores. We still run out on a daily basis to our local Redners and Wises and Giants and some of the other retail grocers we have in the area. It's the food industry, the manufacturers,
Okay, direct, okay.
definitely the distribution centers, the places that distribute food out to retailers is probably our biggest source of food donations. But then also community food drives. We're all familiar. There's the big ones that go on every year, the letter carriers
Yes,
and the
okay.
Boy Scouts, but there's schools and businesses and churches do a lot of food drives for us throughout the year, which is wonderful, and we get a lot of food that way too.
Okay. And I always think of that, so that's a can this big and a...
Right.
Okay, all right, so it could be anything. That's wonderful. Again, I think that's just terrific, that's all coming together and making it work.
Right. And it's one of the things I always appreciate about the Greater Berks Food Bank, or I still, after 12 years of being there, find amazing, is just how it is really such a huge community combined effort to make it possible.
Absolutely.
It's not just our staff, but we have more than 1,300 volunteers every year who I know most charitable organizations will say this, but we could not do what we do without the help of our volunteers, and that's the absolute truth.
Yeah, I would...
Because we're only paid like 20, so we need those other 1,300 people to pick up some of the
Exactly.
other duties. But then the food donors that supply most of the food that we distribute. Of course, it's our financial donors who really provide most of our revenue to allow us to do all of that. It's our advocacy efforts with the government to get some of our programs
keep the
maintained
programs coming. Yep,
and keep them
exactly.
coming and
Yep.
expand them,
Yep.
if possible when needed.
Yep.
So it's a big effort.
Well, in a couple of minutes that we have, I'm
Sure.
sure that you want to go right ahead and do a little push for either the monetary donations, the campaign. I know you
Sure.
want to mention about the campaign, and of course, I'm sure you can always use volunteers.
Sure.
So.
Real quickly, I'll give you our web address, because if I get the hook here in a couple of minutes, always go on our website, which is berksfoodbank.org, or you can certainly always give us a phone call at 610-926-5802, and either through the website or to the call, we can answer any questions you might have. But if you do go on that website, you can find out about volunteering. You can
Great.
register to volunteer on our site.
Okay, do that
You can make
directly.
a monetary donation to us right on our website, or you can get the address to mail a monetary donation. As I said, the monetary donations are extremely important and impactful, $1 to $20. But real quickly, I know we did talk about that campaign, our new
Yes.
truck campaign.
Okay.
We just kicked off a campaign where we have an anonymous local couple that is matching funding during the campaign to purchase a new truck. And that new truck is going to be used to help sustain and expand not only our mobile market program, but also that mobile direct program that's helping seniors. We do have one truck for that program now, but with making 1,000 deliveries for Mobile Direct and having 7 partner sites with a mobile marketing, each one of those takes at least half
And
a day of
certainly
time.
it's not dying, yeah.
It's overwhelmed already
Yes,
within
yeah.
2 years, and that's a good problem to have. It's effective programs, but we need the truck to
And it's reaching people who need it
help it go on.
specifically.
So anybody who wants to make a donation to that program, they can do it once again online or mail in a donation.
Is there a
You just-
time frame for the campaign?
It goes through it just kicked off, and
Okay.
it goes through the end of the year. And just when you make a donation, you would just write a new truck campaign on the check or or when you make your donation online.
Specific for that.
Yeah,
Okay,
so they
good.
know where to apply it.
Good. All righty. Well, I think that we have 1 minute.
Okay.
So if we had 1 minute before I sign off, any one last thing that you would like to just share?
Sure. I gave a lot of information here really quickly. Once again, the website and the phone number are out there.
Yeah.
We also certainly always welcome people to visit us. We're open
Okay.
Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30. I can sit here for half an hour and give you the real quick spiel of everything we do, but really coming out, once again, seeing the operation in motion speaks for itself. And
And
we always
certainly-
welcome visitors, so please think of that as well.
Great, super. I thank you. And again, if anybody wants to call our agency, the Berks County Area Agency on Aging, at 610-478-6600. 6500. You can always ask for me. If you didn't catch how to call or check the website or fill out anything, I'll be happy to share that with you. And thank you for being my guest, Doug, and
Thanks for
sharing
having
the
me.
information and the programs available. And thanks for tuning in to Aging Matters. We'll see you next month.
Aging Matters on BCTV is supported by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging.